Chiefs are on the clock. They made a move, and now they have an extra second-round pick today on Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
And welcome back to another episode of Locked On Chiefs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And we're going to get back to our mock draft and part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team, and part of the number one sports podcast network in the United States. We do appreciate that. Thank you for making us your first listen. And this is year number 10, basically, for Ryan and I. And thank you all for making it possible. Yeah, somewhere in there. Thank you for making it possible, and thank you for the Everydayers. If you haven't already joined the Everydayer Club, go check out lockedonchiefs.supercast.com. Get free, ad-free audio, and get access to our Everydayer Club Discord server. So much to talk about. Yesterday, we did a mock draft, moved back to 16, got an extra second-round pick, and loved the pick because it was number 33 overall, which is a very important pick in the NFL draft. And that's where we're going to be picking up today. So let's just jump in right now. This is what we did yesterday. We took Spencer Fano from Utah, gave Patrick Mahomes his bookend for the next several years. And now we're in a situation where you can get back to drafting who you want to draft. And we're going to just go ahead and let it resume, get down to 33, because I'm not going to try moving up with an extra second-round pick. I want to see what's on the clock and what's available. Here we go.
My guy TJ Parker went, and I do think he's right in there with the next. I think he's third or fourth on my board here. He's very, very close. And I'm going to say this because I've run mocks on a number of different scenarios here, and being so high in this, we have to look at the trade back value. I recognize that, but this draft, this round, we cannot come away with anything less than an impact edge rusher. There's only 4 of them in this draft. So there's one left on the board. So unless we get a screaming deal in a trade back, there's no way we're not taking Akeem Messidor right here, right now.
I have a hard time believing that we would be able to. Yeah, I would. You could, for moving back 3 picks, you get 102. I don't think it's worth it. I think Messidor is gone. I think they need an edge desperately. So to me, this pick makes sense as going Messidor. And
let's take a look at the rest of the edges available, just so everybody can see what I'm talking about here, because that's where it gets thin. And I don't want to press the possibility of missing out on an impact edge rusher. You'll see here.
Yockes at 42.
Yeah. Oh, is that where they have him now? Yeah. He might be there when we pick at 40. Zion Young, yes. Both those guys have a ways to go. Neither of them are up to par with Messidor or TJ Parker. That is the case. There's the top tier of 2 guys of Bailey and Bain, and there's the second tier of 2 guys of Messidor and Parker, and that's it. So I do think the drop-off is significant here.
Yeah, and let me be clear. The one thing that everybody wants to talk about when it comes to Messidor is he's too old. You get him at 33, I'm sorry, I don't care. It's not a first-round pick. It's a player that has high upside that you can get to play, he's 25 right now, so he will be playing until he'll be playing 4 years. It's a 4-year contract, your second-round pick. This is still a win for the Chiefs at that point because it's even cheaper at a premium position.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a significant gap here between him and Gabe Yacas, Zion Young. I do like some of the other guys, including Moore from Michigan, that if we were stuck in a position where we couldn't get a second-round edge because we didn't have an option with the top 2 guys before, then we'd have to look at them. But quite frankly, it looks like he's even the top player, period, on this board right now. And if we're not getting enough value, I just say we take him and run with it.
He's not. Christian Miller and Monroe Freeling are the top players on the board.
Both of whom I like.
You tell me what you think about Christian Miller. Monroe Freeling is not an option considering who they took in the first round. So To me, I think it would be between Miller and Messidor. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. I do like Miller. I think he's DT 5 for me. I'll have to double check my rankings currently. But I do like him. I think he's a bit of a fringe guy. This is right around it, but I would have him 5, 8 picks lower on my board, to tell you the truth. And it's
what
not as much
as
as
one tech or a 3.
He can do a bit of both, and he brings juice. He does have some pass rush, but he's not as impactful as Messidor is at the edge. So I think of the two, I would have Messidor stacked above him. So I think that's pretty clear to me. And there are other options as well for, like, especially for either a first and second down DT or second and third down DT later in the draft.
All right, I'm taking Messidor, and we are going to be right back to talk about pick 40 in just a moment.
Welcome to the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft. We're looking at every aspect of the draft to let you know which tasty flavors are the best and which ones might be sleepers. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and the only one is going to take that top spot. My favorite thing about 5-Hour Energy is it gives you that boost with 0 sugar. So I get the pick-me-up, and I don't have that sugar crash later, and that's what I need for absolute certain. So all you got to do is get into the flavor of it, whether you want confetti craze or fruity rainbow, cotton candy, all of them. Make sure that you get what you're looking for. I personally consider a little bit of everything what I'm looking for. I like cotton candy, so that's probably what I'd pick today. That's why you want to be there, and that's probably where I'd put it, right at the top of the draft right now. You can do the same. Find your new flavor at 5-Hour Energy. Those shots are available only online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. As the new year gets going and a lot of people try to simplify their routines, dinner is a big one. Between busy work days, cold winter nights, and packed schedules, having an easy, reliable dinner plan makes a huge difference. And that's where Home Chef comes in. Home Chef takes the stress out of cooking by delivering fresh, pre-portioned ingredients right to your door with easy-to-follow recipes and actually tastes great. They're rated number 1 by the users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease, and it's easy to see why. Meals come ready to fit your schedule. There are 30-minute recipes, oven-ready trays, or even quick lunches. Over 30 options a week for including family-sized meals, as well as some of the smaller, quicker options for your dietary choices. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering our listeners 50% off of your first box with free shipping and free dessert for life. Just go to homechef.com/lockedon. That's homechef.com/lockedon for 50% off of your first box, plus free shipping, plus free dessert for life. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert.
If you've ever hired somebody who looked good on paper but wasn't the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed sponsored jobs. Hiring Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates faster. If I need to hire someone for this show, I go straight to Indeed to be very specific about what I need. Real experience, not just a resume buzzword. Instead of struggling to get your job post seen, Indeed sponsored jobs helps your listing stand out and reach quality candidates faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 90% more likely to report a higher than non-sponsored jobs. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners to the show get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL. Just go to Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. All right. So the Chiefs went with Akeem Messidor, and I think that makes a ton of sense based on their needs and what this organization needs to get done in the draft. But now the question is, at 40, where do you go? We are going to talk a lot more on the full Locked On Chiefs show, so go check that out about what Brett Veach decided to say at the Combine, which could play into this draft. But you're still sitting here at 40, and one of the guys that we have drafted before is still sitting there, Gabe Yacas. I'm not going to lie, I'm tempted to double up because of the fact that that's how much they need edge help.
That is a fair scenario. In getting that second round pick, it does make it tempting to go back to that well. I personally don't have Yockes in the top 50. So for
Fair
me, it's a little bit of a stretch, but it doesn't mean I'm absolutely right. This could be closer to reality. If you feel like it's that big a need, you could certainly do it. Let's explore what else is there at wide receiver, at cornerback, at defensive tackle. As we were looking at, obviously, Chris Miller must have gone since we last chose. So that was pretty much a certainty to begin with. I don't think that's a big surprise. Throwing tight end in there as well. People are starting to come around on my guy Stowers, you can see. I think Daniel Jeremiah had a lot to do with that. He actually came out and mentioned him as a up-and-comer, a top 50 guy a couple of weeks. Was it last week's podcast for him? I've had him up there since, I don't know, mid-January at that point. So that's not a surprise to me. I don't see any wide receiver help there, though. Nobody that's really sticking out.
Wide receiver got overdrafted.
And I know it's a concern, so we're going to have to look at that. And that's the only reason that I bring it up now, because at 40, a solid wide receiver could be there. I don't know what's going to happen at 74. So if we can just take a look at the receivers real quick to see who is left.
Let's see, wide receiver.
So Surratt, they have him at 67, meaning we will not get to him. CJ Daniels, they have right at 74, will be picking. Unless we trade back again, we'll see what that one trade offer is. You have to
64.
Is it back to 64? Okay.
And the Seahawks have nothing to offer.
96 is the only thing they could, right?
Yep.
And will they is the question. Okay.
That says it'll be accepted. So you could move back 24 spots and get an extra third-round pick.
And hope that the Surratt survives. Again, I like the player. He's got some back shoulder ability. He showed that in the Natty. He makes good plays. He understands spacing on the field. I like the concept of him. I'm just not sure that he gets enough separation that Patrick Mahomes is going to throw in the ball a lot. So that's my concern there. So
according to this, you could get a 64, 96, a third round in 2027 and a fourth round in 2027. That actually almost makes it worth it to me. Simply for the fact that you can take those picks from next year and move back up to get more players in 2026. Although 2027 seems to be a deeper draft, so there's different ways to look at that. But
I would say let's just grab Gabe and go.
You want to take Gabe and go?
Yeah, I think so.
Double down and take the other defensive end. So now you are duplicating at this point.
No, we're strengthening. We're not duplicating. We're strengthening.
Sorry, strengthening. I apologize. I said the wrong word. My apologies. So Tinneman is not somebody you would be interested in.
I like him. Hill. I like him, just not at 40.
Yeah. So
Stowers would be tempting. I like Keontae Scott, but he's more of what we have.
I know we've already drafted him before, but I'm sorry. I think that they absolutely need to address the edge position multiple times in this draft because I don't think you're going to be able to pay somebody in free agency. So to me, I think that makes a ton of sense. So we will take Gabe Yacas again, and we're going to pause it for today, and that is going to be our draft. So right now we have. Let's see, who have we picked so far? Our picks: Spencer Fano, tackle, right tackle, protects Mahomes for the next 5 years. Akeem Messidor, Gabe Yacas. You are redoing that defensive line, which is something you absolutely have to invest in and do anyway. So love that scenario. And the Spencer Fano pick really made it happen because you were able to trade back to 16 and get the number 33 overall pick. So to me, this draft makes a ton of sense. When we get back tomorrow, we are going to dive into what they're going to do, what they could do in the third round, and maybe even look at the fourth round. But that is going to be it for us today. Thank you all for listening, and we will be back